I hope everybody is doing okay. All right, so I'm still again learning how to. Um, I mean, it's really easy. There's nothing to learn really. Go, you just hit live or whatever, and you just say what you gotta say. This is about what my second, third video. The first one was about 30 seconds. The second one was like 30 minutes actually. The second one, I was talking about how I was gonna start talking about stories, um, things like that. I also noticed how like I need a mic so I can sound louder. But I told myself I was gonna be a little bit louder. That way you can kind of hear me. Um, Today is actually June 9th. It's 12:30 uh, p.m. or a.m. June 9th. June 8th. Yesterday was my birthday. Uh, June 9th is actually my 15th, is my anniversary with my girlfriend today. It's my 15th anniversary. Um, I already told her happy anniversary and everything. And she's in bed now. But again, I said I was going to talk about stories and stuff like that. And the trippiest thing about that is that, yesterday was my birthday, June 8th. And something incredible happened that I just want to start talking about actually. I don't since it's so fresh, since it's just happened like maybe like a couple hours ago. I want to talk about it. An experience that just happened to me right now or earlier. Um, so I know I live in Topeka. I just found out about this place here called Burnetts Mound. So Burnetts Mound is it's like an Indian, uh, pretty much like I guess it might be a burial or just Indian, sacred grounds. I believe that's what it is. And then during, when the Native Americans were here, they're still there, but when there were more Native Americans um, in that area, uh, there used to be tornadoes or whatever, and so they would actually break up in this area called the Burnetts Mound. So if there was tornadoes, they would break off there. Um, and then so it's uh, really a spiritual place. Again, Native Americans. Uh, a This is so the city ended up building a water tower there. This was back in 1966. Um, and that area was actually protected by the a Native American that said that no tornadoes would ever pass by here. Um, I guess as long as the place wasn't disrespected or whatnot. I'm pretty sure I'm killing the story, but it's almost um, pretty close to what I'm saying. And then the so in June 8th, 1966, a water tower was built there, right next to the mound. And so the year that the water tower was built, an F5, which is one of the biggest tornadoes, actually happened to go right over the mound, which um, they said like if it was disrespected, then that would happen, and sure enough, it did. If you look up the Burnetts Mound, on Google, you'll find more of the story. That's in Topeka, Kansas. So I found out about this place, about the tornado and everything and how it was protected. But after, the disrespect of the water tower, the tornado hit. Again, that was June 8th, 1966. So I moved here like 4 years ago. I just found out about Burnetts Mound like about 2 weeks ago. I knew that there was a tornado that actually had hit in June 8th, 1966, but I didn't know about the Burnetts Mound story, about uh, I guess the curse or whatever it had because of the water tower. Um, so I was waiting for for it to be my birthday so I can go. So yeah, so I ended up going today or last night or whatever because it's still again it's just turned midnight. It's June 9th now. I got there like around maybe 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. There were still sun up. Um, and I said, Fuck it, let's go. That's what you wanted to do for like the last 2 weeks. You wanted to go and show up on your birthday. So I did. I grabbed a was it a chair, and then I grabbed a Native American flute. Um, here that was um, pretty much given to me. So I don't know. I don't even know how to play it. I just have it. It's really nice. It's actually right here with me. It's this flute. Here, I'll take it off the filter so you can see it really quick. It's really cool. There's like this looks like an eagle or something like on the flute. Okay, so I wanted to get. Uh, I wanted to go on my birthday. Make it like a spiritual um, journey, pretty much. Some of the stories saying like once you go up there, you can kind of hear your ancestors, or you can hear spirits or feel them or something like that. So I'm like, okay, whatever. That sounds like a nice place. Um, Plus, my girlfriend's family was just visiting from Germany too, and they had heard about this place as well. So it's like, I guess it's a real popular place. Um, and I'm not sure if they went to go visit it or not, but I told them I was gonna go on my birthday. So I got there. I parked there. It's like I think it's like 15 minutes away from where I live. Um, you park and there's like a little parking, and there's a few cars parked there. So yeah, I see that. Once I got there, I'm like, okay, like I seen some people in the parking lot, just hanging out, and I was like, I wanted to go and bring my dog, and so because I was like, okay, I could have brought my dog the whole time, but I kind of wanted to come alone because I just felt like, if they say if you go alone, you can kind of like really feel the spirits or whatnot, and it makes sense, if you don't have no distractions, and yeah, you might, hear something or whatever, not. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go bring my dog, but so I got back on the highway, which is like not too, far from there. And then so I was on the highway, and I just told myself, I'm like, no, just fuck it, go back, just go back. If you can do this alone, then you'll be, you could always do everything alone, and you'll be strong or whatever or whatnot. I don't know. I just trying to tell myself that, do this on your own. So I did. I went back. I got on the first exit and then headed back. And all right, so I got there. I parked the car, And then as soon as I was parking, another like a Jeep was parking right next to me as well. And there was a couple. They got off the car, the Jeep, and then started looking at the little history tabs that they have there about the place. And then all of a sudden, like, so I guess there's like you hear some like a car pulling up, and then somebody was like yelling inside the car, and there was I guess a couple got dropped off, and then some lady like took off. You know, she left them there. She was actually covering her face as she was leaving because the guy that she dropped off was just yelling really super loud. It's like angry about something, just screaming fucking crazy, like why did you do that? Why I don't know. And then, but he was yelling loud, like really loud, like angry. And I'm like, I was a little worried about the girl he's with. I don't know. I was just like, you know, trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And for like a good 10, 15 minutes, like he was just, I mean, just yelling. But first, I like, as soon as he got dropped off, you know, he was yelling. And then I got off the car and I started talking to the, you know, the couple. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm grouping up with you guys because this is crazy. I'm like, I got my pepper spray, whatever. Um, you know, if I don't know what's going on, you know, he seems like out of control. Like where, you know, the place where we're going, it's like right where he's yelling at, and he's completely out of control. But and then we're talking, you know, I'm just telling him why I'm there. You know, it's my first time. I'm telling them that I'm just here because, you know, I heard about this place. I heard about the tornado that it hit on this date on June 8th. I was telling them it's my birthday, that I'm Native American. I'm just trying to, like, you know, look for just on a journey, you know, just to see what I can, you know, get myself into pretty much. And uh, mentioned, I think I might have mentioned that I'm writing a book about, you know, my great grandfather who's a healer as well. Um, they asked me what I did. You know, I'm a massage therapist. You know, I found out that my great grandfather was a healer when I was in massage school and all that. So I found out that I was Native American. I moved down here to Topeka. Um, you know, I found out about this place. I'm just here to try to, like, you know, connect with my ancestors. I brought a flute with me, a Native American flute, so I'm thinking about just hanging out in the top and then just playing the flute, you know. So they saw that the guy was still yelling, and they said, you know, we might just come back later on. And I'm like, oh, you know, I kind of wanted to leave too because that guy was just, yeah, he like looked like he wanted to just sound like he wanted to kill somebody. I don't know. But I was like already there, and I'm like, no, I need to do this. You know, I need to go. I need to go on this little journey here and check out this place. And then a car pulled up. It was like a couple, and they were just hanging out. Looked like they were just smoking. And then another car pulled next to them. They were just hanging out. But yeah, they were just like, looks like they were smoking weed or something. And then two cop cars pulled up, um, and yeah, like I don't know, they weren't bothering anybody or anything. They just made a circle. They stood like right by there, and I said, hey, you know, there's a fucking nutty ass dude. Like I don't know, he's sounds like he's gonna kill somebody or something. Um, Yelling out of his lungs. You know, there was a couple here, and they got fucking scared, and they took off because he was yelling so loud. Um, and yeah, and then I just mentioned to the cops, I'm just here for you know, like it's my birthday. I'm here for you know, like a spiritual journey. I'm here. I heard about the June 8th, you know, plays and all that stuff, and it's just what the hell, you know, and then like, oh, this doesn't really happen, really. Um, like don't worry about it. And then he explained the situation. He said like the mom had dropped them off, and that he was just the girlfriend was there to calm him down, and I should be okay, that just stay away from him or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, whatever, cool. I'm like, for some reason that made me feel like okay. So I grabbed my chair, I grabbed my flute, and started going up the trail. Um, and then so it was like on the way there, I noticed some guy coming down with two dogs. And then I said, well, how long, where's the mound? Is it coming up? And he said, yeah, it should be just around the corner. And then I don't know how I mentioned, like, I was there to I think I told him it was my first time there. Um, that I was just there, there on a journey. That it's my birthday. That it's because of the tornado that hit on June 8th, 1966. That I'm just trying to, like, connect with ancestors. I'm writing a book. And then he told me that yeah, he lives here. One of his house was actually had to be rebuilt from the tornado that happened in 1966. Um, and then just explain a little bit of the history about an old Native American that I guess had some kind of spell or power where he can again, the once the tornadoes would hit in that certain area, and they would break off and go into the air, I guess. And then so, um, once they built the tower, that the freaking tornado came in and just destroyed, pretty much everything there. Um, so yeah, we had that talk, and then he, wished me happy birthday, and oh, and that cop too had wished me happy birthday because I had mentioned to them it was my birthday, so that was kind of nice. And so yeah, this guy said happy birthday too as well. He's wished me well on my journey and everything. Um, and then so yeah, I just walked another 7 minutes, and there was the mound, or maybe 5 minutes, or about 7 minutes, yeah. And then once I got there, there was like a family, two ladies and their kid just sitting there by a bench. And then it looked like there was like a up. You had to go up the stairs. So I figured that was the mount because it was the highest point. And once I got up there, I actually I uh, messaged my girlfriend on the pretty much the where you can see each other through a Facebook Messenger. And I sat, my chair down. I put the phone down where she can see me, and then I started just playing the flute. She actually recorded it, um, and so I was just there, playing the flute for a little bit. I don't even know how to play it, but I was just there, just trying to connect with my ancestors, I guess. And so that was that. I was just there, and then the sun started, going down. It was just beautiful. You can just see the whole city, the whole skyline, like just amazing, just beautiful. I'm like, okay, and then after that, we, hung up with my girlfriend or whatever, and then I started going down the hill, uh, and I had brought a flashlight with me. It started getting dark. As soon as I turn on my flashlight, I'm flashing it everywhere, like just fireflies just all over the place, like as down the road of where I'm going. They weren't there on the way when I was going there, but on the way back, they were all out, and everywhere I shine my flashlight, they were just glowing. Right, it was just beautiful. Um, and then I just started like singing. Actually, I just started like chanting like an Indian, like like just on the all the way down the back to the car. And I had the flute in my hand. I was just also kind of playing the flute. Da 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 da. I'm like, okay, this is nice. I like the fireflies all over the place. There was like thousands of them just all over. It was beautiful. Um, So I'm like, okay, this is nice. And then I started saying, I'm like, oh, ancestors, if you're out here, if you hear me, like show up, like come out. Um, and then I was like thinking, as soon as I was saying that, I'm like, okay, I wonder like how would they come out, like in spirit or a person. Like I was just, thinking, I don't know. I was just going that it was just going through my head or whatever. I don't know. So I think as soon as I said that, this is where it just changes my life. I think completely here. Um, so as soon as I said show up or whatnot, um, I had my flashlight. I was walking down the trail back to the car, and then I saw like a big shadow, um, in front of me. It looked like a big like a Bigfoot type of shadow, like just there. And then I'm like, okay, that was weird. Looks like I'm seeing things. I think I just saw a Bigfoot. And then I'm not saying I saw a Bigfoot. It's just listen up. Um, so I kept walking and walking, and all of a sudden I saw that it was a big deer, right? So whatever that shadow or whatever it was, and all of a sudden I saw that it was like from far away. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool, a deer. Like, and it was getting dark, so I'm like, okay, it's probably gonna run away as soon as I get closer, right? And then I saw it, and then after that, I didn't like maybe didn't see it for the next minute or two. Okay, it's gone. Long, that's nice. Saw a deer from far away. It's out here. That's pretty cool. And then so I'm walking, 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 and then I look to my right, and there it was, probably like about maybe 20 feet away from me, right? And it's like almost walking next to me, like um yeah, it's just walking next to me, and then all of a sudden I just didn't see it again. I'm like, oh, okay, that was interesting. I was walking a little bit more, and then all of a sudden there it is again, walking next to me. And I'm like, what? Like, how is it not like running away? I thought they were like scared or something, And it just so it's just by a tree, and it's like a good 20-25 feet away from me, and it's like and I'm like kind of like flashing my light at it, and it's just there, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's probably like a good 25-30 feet, and it's I just kind of see the shadow of it, and it's just but I can see clearly that it's there. I keep walking, 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 and it's just staying close to me, right? It's staying fucking close to me, but it's walking right next to me. And I'm like, whoa, wait, hold on. Like, why isn't it running away? It's kind of, I'm like, this is kind of cool, kind of walking right next to a deer. I'm like, this is kind of beautiful. I'm like, this is nice. Um, but at the same time, I'm like thinking, why isn't it running away from me? And I felt like it was kind of like stalking me in a way, right? So, and then I call my girlfriend. I just dialed her through the phone, and I'm like, hey, I'm like, do deer attack? Do you know? And then she's like, I don't think so. No, I don't know. And I'm like, cause there is a freaking deer stalking me right now. It's right next to me. And I don't know if it's gonna freaking attack or not. And then she's like, hold on, let me call you live, or, through the messenger. And I'm like, okay, great. And then she hangs up. And I'm like, okay, great. She wants to see me die or something. Like, what the hell? Like, Like shit, I'm about to, my girlfriend's about to see me die live or something. I don't know. I'm just telling myself this. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck. This is my first time. Pretty much being in the. It's like a foresty area, right? And it's just I'm alone in the pretty. It's already dark, and there's a deer fucking stalking me, right? So I just thought they ran away. So she calls me live or whatever, and I'm like telling her, yes, it's still right in front of me. And what did she say? Like, I have the flashlight in front of me. She's like, shine it, shine it in front of you. And I was just frozen. I was trying to, like, there was a rock right there, right next to me. And I was like, fuck, I'll just run behind that rock, in case it tries to, like, rush me. I don't know. I was just thinking it could hit me with its antlers. I couldn't really tell yet if it had antlers or whatever, not. Um, or whatever what they have, whatever they're called, hooves, hooves. I don't know. So anyways, I was like, okay, like I'm just standing there, and it's still there, right? It's like kind of like I think it's eating grass, or I don't know what it's doing, but it's there right in front of me. Um, I'm talking to my girlfriend. I'm like, yeah, it's still there. Um, there's still. I didn't know how long there was left for me to get to the car, and then my girlfriend says, uh, like I don't know. I think she's like, she was talking to my stepson or her son, like, oh, hold on, I think he was trying to tell her something, and then she's like, wait, hold on, I'm talking to Jose. I think he's getting stalked by a deer. He's about to get eaten by a deer or something like that. Kind of made me laugh a little bit, but yeah, and then she mentioned then she's like, hey, she's like, your spirits show up in animals. And then as soon as I said that, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. I just asked my ancestors to show themselves up right before I seen this deer. And I'm like, whoa. And then I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, yes, I think I've heard about that. I'm like, and then she's like, try to find out what it's saying or whatever, and then just call me back in case anything happens. So I hung up with her or whatever, and then we hung up the phone, and then this deer was just right in front of me, and it was just there, right? Like looking at me, and then it would eat his grass, kind of like put his head down. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if it's trying to attack me or not. Um, but it wasn't. It was still there. There was like a pit, a fork area that breaks, I guess, to the parking lot and to um another. It looked like to a higher trail. Like it looks like another mount area. And then but it was just there, and I'm like, okay, if it attacks me or something, I'll just try to move out the way. But then I was like, actually, I was in the middle of nothing. There was nothing around, and then I was kind of just trying to put the flashlight on it, just like like how headlights, it makes them kind of freeze. So I was like, okay, but then I kind of put the flashlight away from it, and then I'm like, hey, I'm like, hey, hello. I was talking to it, like I'm like um because my great grandfather had healing abilities, so that's what I was there to do, I guess. I was there visiting that mount to try to like wake something up or just try to like have some kind of journey or whatever. So I was telling this deer as it's looking straight at me, and as I'm looking at it, um, and it's looking direct dead at my eye, like it was like I can't even tell you, like I'm like, how is this happening right now? I'm like, it was like looking at a ghost. It was like looking at an ancestor. It was like looking at a person, like at a spirit inside this animal, and I can just see it just listening to me as I was talking to it, like interested. Okay, like tell me what what you need to say. And I was like, I was being silly or whatnot. I'm like, give me the ability of having some type of healing powers, or I was just like saying heal, healing. Give me a healing energy. And yeah, I don't know what I did. I think I started walking towards it, and then it just all of a sudden it just went towards that other trail, right? Like towards another trail that looks like it was going like towards higher ground. So I'm like, okay, it took off. I'm gonna take off. So I'm like, no, it probably wants you to fucking follow it, So I'm like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna follow it into this trail. So I saw that it was like this trail, and even had like it was a road. You could see like it had a bunch of rocks, and there was like just it was another trail going up. So I was like, I started following that, and you could tell it was deep and it was dark too. It was like freaking dark. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, okay, just you're here on a spiritual journey. Just follow this dark road wherever this deer went. So I went behind. I just started to follow wherever it went, and I just kept going up and up and up and up past this muddy area. Went through that, just kept going, and I kind of in my mind, I was telling myself like, this is what a journey is, like the unknown. Going into darkness, like not knowing where you're going. Like, okay, I'm like just trying. Like it was just going through my head. Face your is like trying to tell me like just face your fears and just follow this dark road, because that's what like just trying to tell myself like little things like that's what death is, like we're here for this life, and then you just disappear into who knows what, and at the same time I was just telling myself this, and I'm like just keep following the deer. So I was like tr- kept following the high the mounts, just kept going. And I'm like, okay, should I be still be, keep going down this up the hill, and then so I did. I kept going. I'm like, this just sounds familiar, That's like it sounds like something I've heard before, or a story or something. And yeah, and I kept going up the hill. Um, and once I got to the top of the hill, I'm like, it looked like there was like it looked like a Wi-Fi tower or something. I don't know. And that had some lights. But once I got there, I'm like, okay, this is now what? And then I turned around. I'm like, I'm just gonna start heading back. And as soon as the first second that I did that, I just started hearing like I don't know what it was, like bird noises, or like like I don't know. It was like just not normal, like. And then I'm like, oh wow. And I'm like, I kind of like wanted to keep going down because you could tell that the road kept going. And I'm like, I'm like that. This is it, I'm like, and then I heard the noise, that whatever it was seeing, those noises. It was like I thought it was a bird or whatever, like, but like it didn't sound like no like small bird or anything. It sounded like a big bird or whatever. I don't know. And then you just hear it going like running away or flying away. I don't know what it was. You just hear it flying, going away. So I'm like, all right, it took off. It took off. So I just started going back to my back the road where I came up, and then down where I was talking to the deer, and then saw the road that where the car was, because there was a bunch of cement, and then saw my car, um, saw somebody else going up the hill. It was already dark, so I'm like, okay. And they said, have a good night. I'm like, all right, you too, whatever. And so I got to, I called my phone rang again. It was my girlfriend. And then so I explained everything, and she was pretty much there, because I was talking to her through the whole thing. And she was just amazed, and I was like, wow, this whole, this is exactly why I came, I'm like, wow. Like, and then so she looked up, she said, I'm gonna look up to see what it means to run into a deer. And then so she, we hung up again, and she started sending me all these things. And then I also was looking up, what it means to, does it mean anything? And it was like, what it said is like, when you run into a deer and when it approaches you, and especially when it stares at you, it's like, what was it saying? Like, it's trying to like show you a different path, trying to tell you that everything, that the journey that you're taking, that everything is gonna get pretty much better. Like if you look up like what it means for a deer to approach you, like it says like it's a new like that it's like a new journey, a new beginning, like everything is gonna be fine. So I'm like, no, this is not happening. That this is just what this it just happened. That just happened. Yes, a deer was just standing there in front of me, like just like looking at me, like what the fuck, like I just. And the trippy thing is that I just asked for my ancestors to come out, and I was thinking how they were gonna come out at first, like, oh, like what, but it was, I guess it was through a deer. And again, I just can't forget that feeling, um, of looking at it, like I was like looking into, again, like it just, I was looking at this thing, right, this animal, and it was dark, and I could just feel like I was like, I felt like I was looking into a past, like I was looking into a spirit, like I was looking into myself, and it was like almost like talking to me through the mind, like saying I was the deer, like saying everything is gonna be okay. Like eventually, like it was trying to tell me like I was a person, now I'm this, like I guess my girlfriend said it's like all energy pretty much. So yeah, that happened, and I wanted to share all of that, um because it was so fresh. It just happened, like, it's like, what time is it, like 1 a.m. right now. It happened like 8, 9 p.m., a few hours ago. And just wow, it's just amazing, like all that stuff that you hear about like Native Americans and all that, like we are all one and the spirit and all that, it's real because it just happened to me while I went to go look for it, like. And so yeah, so um on the way home I could feel what it did. Like I could just feel like this one with the deer, like just like that look, that look, it doesn't go away. Like the way it was looking at me so closely, not with no fear. Walking the way it just walked with me down the path, where I needed to go, and then it just stood there looking at me. Um, on the way home, like I could just, yeah, I could just feel one with the deer, with the spirit, like letting me know, like, like don't worry about things, like, because I have been overwhelmed a little bit. So it was just telling me like, don't worry, we're all one. That this is all love. Like that's what it was telling me. Like it was just showing me like this love, like this energy. Um, and then so I felt it on the way home. And it was confirmed once I got home, because there was like these that we live by, like like these bushes, like there's just it's all foresty. And then I kind of like, sometimes I'll take a piss right, right by there. Um, and I'm always like, damn, like it's, especially at night, I felt like something like it's gonna pop out of there. It's gonna, like, like a bear or something. I don't know. It's a scary feeling. And then now when I came back and I took a pee there, and there was not 1% of that fear that I always felt like, something is gonna come out or something like that. Like I even like felt like I wanted to go in there and discover, like that's how like I felt like it had cured me, and I was just when I go back and look back at the whole situation, like I had just asked my ancestors to come out, and I mentioned healing, and then bam, this deer comes out, and now I felt like it healed me, like. And oh yeah, I just wanted to talk about this story because wow, and I recently, like yesterday, I just barely started uh YouTube, YouTube, going talking about stories or whatever. So I felt like I opened up a floodgate pretty much, to this realm of spirituality or something, because just as soon as I started talking about it, now pretty much the next day, I have like one of the biggest spiritual, you know, uh, man, I can't even. It was like feelings, uh, a path. Like it was just amazing, beautiful. I've never experienced anything like that, and it was at a place where it's you know a sacred. So it's just life is beautiful, man. Life is so beautiful. I just the way it happened, when I was singing like an Indian, like I do, "Ah," like just how they scream or whatever, and then just calling for them, and then the deer, all of us, when I asked for my ancestors to come out, and all of a sudden, I was didn't make sense at first because I was looking for something else, but then it was a deer. Um, the trippy thing that I was mentioning to my girlfriend is like I think it was the Chinese New Year, like 1980. It's also like it's the sign of the deer, or the Native American. I think the horoscope is 1980 is a deer. So all that stuff, it just comes together. Like um, life is just beautiful. I'm trying to again put a book together of everything that happens to me because like just this beautiful um timeline, of things that I'm seeing that I'm supposed to see. I see it as all like just a spiritual journey. My things that happen with my relationship, the reason why we get along so great is because just of things that's amazing things that's happened in our relationship. Like we can talk about something, and then all of a sudden, like it just happens. Like for example, like I can mention, oh, like we could be joking about anything, like a giraffe with a hat, and all of a sudden the next day we're looking at, we're seeing the TV, and all of a sudden there's a giraffe with a hat. And then so things like little things like that just kept happening and happening and happening. And that's what we figured out, that uh, if you have a relationship like that, it's not just your soulmate, but a twin flame is what they call it. So um, our anniversary is today, June 9th. I try to meet her. We were talking 3 months before we met, which was June 9th. I tried to meet her on my birthday, but I was late, and then it ended up being June 9th. But it's 6/9. Her birthday is March, my birthday is June, and then the anniversary is on the June 9th. So our numbers have always been 369. We figured out that those numbers are really powerful, I guess. Tesla said that if those numbers combine, they're powerful. Um, her son, my stepson, her, and then me, our birthdays always fall on the same date. Like if it's Wednesday, all of our birthdays on our Wednesday. If it's Thursday, all our birthdays will be on a Thursday. It's a trip, right? Like we're all like 10 years apart, but our birthdays always fall on the same day since we've known each other for 15 years. So that's a really that's a trip. So much spiritual things that I look for, I guess. Um, And then so I guess if you look for it, you find it. But yeah, again, I just wanted to talk about all this. That stuff is real, y'all. The Native American uh, journeys and all that. Like, again, I moved down here to Topeka. I found out that I was Native American, and it's just been it's been a ride. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and since day one, since I got here, the the weather, everything, like the way it just talks to you, it's always uh, it's always shown me that this is where I'm supposed to be at the moment. Um, since I got here, and then after today, or it just it's been magical out here. Well, that's I think that's about it. The other stories that I mentioned in my other video that I want to talk about were all about my great grandfather, and I guess this is just the a journey on my end. A lot of stories that I wanted to talk about were about him, but I guess things happened to me as well too on the way. I guess because it's all connected as well. So um, I think I've always said that it's my great grandfather who is a healer that's showing me all these beautiful things. I've mentioned pretty much on social media that I felt like my great grandfather has always been there with me, guiding me, showing me these things. Everything that the way I discovered, about my great grandfather, it was all in a sequence. Um, and he just keeps showing me, man. But the way when I was looking at that deer, like I'm like what? Who are you? Like it just felt like it was me, like an ancestor. It felt like God. It felt like the spirit, and I was looking directly right at it. Like it was directly looking right at me, like it knows me and I know it. And again, that feeling took away so much fear, anxiety, um, just maybe this depression. I don't know. It's because my team they're 14. They have lost 14 games in a row, which is like a franchise record. And anyways, I'm gonna keep trying to discover truth, knowledge, whatever you want to call it, and trying to share it with you guys, because you guys are like family. Um, you are family. We are all one. You are me. I am you. I feel, just living different experiences, but there's has to be some truth in everything that we can all share. I don't know. Just the way it all happened, playing the flute. Um, just wow. All right. Thank you for if you listen this far. Thank you for listening to my story. Uh, I got many, many more. Not about me, or maybe I will talk about more about me because I got a lot more to talk about as well. Maybe I'll just start sharing more through YouTube because it's kind of neat. It's faster this way. Instead of just writing it all down. Um, Sometimes I feel like I could die any day, so it's just better to get as much as out there as possible. Um, Anything could happen anytime. Accidents seemed like a hardcore accident yesterday. Um, some lady almost fucking hit me going really fast, and then I was making a left, and I kept seeing her go fast, and all of a sudden I seen just cars just bam, I go up into the air, and I'm like, what the hell? That's that lady that almost hit me, like, or the person, that red car that almost hit me, and I went over there, and yeah, she ran into some other car, and she actually had two kids in the car. Anyways, like life is that video that I posted in my earlier from before this post, that life is the Simpsons, the Matrix, the Truman Show, all mixed into one. Um, but we're gonna put it all together and figure out what is what. Um, I don't know. Anyways, Love, peace, everybody. Take care. God bless. Um, have a great night, great day. If I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That's the Truman Show right there. Peace, everybody.